8-yard line.
Little rub route, as offensive players call it, and a pick, as defensive players call it. Throw slightly off target. Good call, though. Getting Woods out in the flat on that little option route and get KJ Jefferson an easy completion early. Of course, freshman quarterback, hostile environment. Get him feeling confident in the play.
Only 18 years old. He's a big guy, 230 pounds, 6'3", wrapped up by Jacob Phillips. Maybe a yard on the play. And we talked about they've started 4 different quarterbacks now. John Stephen Jones was the starter 2 weeks ago against Western Kentucky. Nick Starkel, Ben Hicks, the other starters. They're trying to find out if they've got a guy that they can employ next year full time.
And the beauty is he's still going to be able to redshirt. He's only played in 2 games, going to have 2 more, so he'll be a redshirt freshman when he returns. And we would imagine they'll have quite the quarterback competition in the offseason.
And boy, there was a mix-up. Jefferson, I think, was trying to get the ball away from Boyd, and Boyd had such a grip on it he couldn't. And Rashard Lawrence takes down the running back at the 35 for a loss of 3.
Yeah, you're going to see the offensive line work up to the second level, and 2 unblocked defenders there. They kind of muddied up the read as Jefferson wasn't really sure what to do.
I think Jefferson was right in his attempt to pull it.
I think he was too. Boyd wouldn't let go of that football, though. He wanted a chance at this LSU defense.
Yeah, that was a bust up front. Now this crowd's really getting cranked up. Tough for the young freshman to communicate with his football team on offense down here.
LSU coming after him on 3rd down and long. Jefferson takes off. And boy, he ran out of bounds. Looked like he could have turned it upfield maybe and had a shot to get the 1st down, but he is short. 4th down and 3. He was heading for the sideline right away.
And I don't really know if he didn't know exactly how much room there was.
How did he do that?
I don't understand if he thought he had enough already. I mean, just a young player, not being aware of the situation, not being aware of the line to gain, and a missed opportunity there on the quarterback scramble.
So they are going to punt, although they have faked it this year, but we don't want to show you the highlight of that because it was pretty embarrassing. Sam Loy threw an interception where he just pitched it forward on 4th down. It was picked off. He kicks this one deep. It will hit at the 8, and Arkansas will down it around the 6-yard line. 50-yard punt by Loy. And so Joe Burrow out there for his 2nd possession. Now 39 touchdown passes on the year for the senior from Athens, Ohio. Mr. Football in Ohio looked a lot different with the hair back in 2014. There he is as a youngster with his brother and dad who played football at Nebraska. We talked about Dwayne Haskins beat him out 2 years ago. So after graduating in 3 years, transferred to LSU. And in 13 starts last year at 16 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. This year, he's been arguably the best offensive player in college football. Edwards-Helaire on the carry off the right side, stacked up after minimal gain.
I really think he's the most improved player I've ever seen from year 1 to year 2 at the quarterback spot. I mean, look at the numbers, look at the completion percentage, look at the touchdown productivity. It's night and day. He's a completely different guy. And last year was tough, too. Got here in the summer, didn't have a lot of time to get to know his teammates, develop that rapport. So thrust into a bit of a tough situation. But, man, he is so comfortable and has played so incredibly well throughout the course of the 2019 season.
Burrow on 2nd and 8 will throw from the goal line. And he dumps it off to Moss. And Moss brought down to the 14. We met with Burrow for about half an hour yesterday. The thing that he said that stood out to me the most when we asked him, how'd you win over especially the defense? For them to believe in you, he said, when I got to camp in practice, #1, I talked a lot of trash on the field. And #2, I started to pick fights with guys on defense.
Absolutely. I mean, just show them you're one of the guys, man. And that it clearly... Everyone dressed in a white uniform tonight run through a brick wall for Joe Burrow.
Burrow with a low snap and a deep throw. Incomplete. Looked like that should have been caught by Marshall. Couldn't come up with it. Boy, the accuracy on these deep balls by Joe Burrow.
And that was a bit of a congested pocket, but that was a pretty good throw. I mean, not a whole lot more that you can ask. It was good coverage defensively by Brooks. That's one that Terrace Marshall will reel in more often than not. So tough bang-bang play would have been a great catch.
Von Rosenberg, as you just saw, didn't punt it at all last week. So he's a little rusty. That one out of bounds around the 45-yard line. Midway through the first quarter, LSU up 7-0. Hilton, 7-0 LSU. As we continue Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week, you can check out our alternate angle Xfinity Skycam coverage of tonight's game, streaming live on the ESPN app. Something special about a night game in Baton Rouge. First time these fans have been able to welcome their team in a month, other than what we showed you when they greeted them at the airport coming back from Tuscaloosa.
They're making up for lost time, though.
Yes, they are. They're getting after it down there. Here's Jefferson with nowhere to go. Stood up and pushed back by Patrick Queen, the middle linebacker. Took over for Devin White, who was a top 5 pick in the NFL draft last year, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guys, how difficult is this for Barry Lunney, the interim coach?
It's so hard. I mean, stepping into a spot, obviously very good friends with Chad Morris, and stepping into a spot where the team just hasn't really done anything positive. Hasn't been much to build around. They've changed things up, but Luke's, it's an impossible spot for the alum.
It certainly is. There's no doubt. And as we see another tackle on the quarterback here. You know, one of the things I thought was interesting when we talked about the interim position, actually with Coach Orgeron, when he did it at USC, he said, whatever you're doing, do the exact opposite. If you practice in the morning, start practicing it at night. If you don't have something in your meals, put something in their meals. Do something different. Obviously, change needed to occur. I think, and I was talking to Coach Lunney in pregame, he's like, we just need something good to happen. Something for our kids to feel good about. And it's been a long time since that's happened for him.
Orgeron said Lane Kiffin wouldn't allow cookies at USC, so as soon as he got fired, Ed brought in 500 cookies for the players, and they were all gone in an hour. Here's the pass on third down, a flag down. I think that's going to be roughing the passer. Burks with a catch, but Marcel Brooks, true freshman, looked like either was late or low on KJ Jefferson, and that will give Arkansas first down.
Yeah, he was low, hit him around the ankles.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 9 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
You'll see as Brooks comes off the right edge.
Helmet to the knee.
Yeah, he goes low, kind of gets tripped up, and of course, there's been a newfound emphasis on trying to protect the quarterback. You can't hit him high, you can't hit him low, you got to aim in the midsection. So not a malicious hit by any stretch by Marcel Brooks, but definitely the correct call by the officials.
We should also mention, even though it hasn't been a factor yet, Grant Delpit, All-America safety a year ago, has been battling an ankle injury. He's not playing today, so you've got Mo Hampton, a true freshman. You can see him there in the middle of your screen, number 14, making his first start at deep safety for LSU. Arkansas is in Tiger territory at the 41.
And they're going to put a lot on Mo Hampton tonight. Based on some of the early defensive looks from Dave Aranda, the defense coordinator, they're playing press man, and they're trying to challenge, be aggressive and physical with these receivers.
Jefferson to throw pressure off the edge. Jefferson throws it deep into traffic, and it's pulled in at the 10-yard line by true freshman Treylon Burks. Gain of 31.
That was a great catch. A good job, too, by Jefferson. You see the upfield rush. Jefferson dips his shoulder, buys a little time, and gives his receiver a chance. Excellent catch for the Hogs.
Jefferson hit in the backfield, able to break a tackle, not afraid to lower the shoulder on the linebacker. They weigh the same, 230 pounds, and it's a gain of maybe 2. Phillips was the defender that Jefferson attacked that time.
And Jefferson's more of a lumberer, big body, physical runner, as opposed to John Rice Plumlee from a week ago, who's more of a scatty, make you miss type of runner. So different approach, but the quarterback run game clearly a big part of what Arkansas is trying to do on offense. You see LSU's defense last week against the Rebels really struggled defending Rich Rodriguez's offense there in Oxford.
Empty set on second and goal. Jefferson throws, and it's broken up. It was intended for Woods. He had true freshman Derek Stingley in coverage that time, so it is 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. Trying to fool the defense there initially, and then Jefferson didn't run it. He threw it underneath.
It was well covered on the back end by LSU, not taking the bait, but I think there was a bit of a jersey pull on the tight end as he released. Let's see what KJ Jefferson has in store for this LSU defense on 3rd and goal from the 9. Looks like LSU is going to be in that man coverage again with a single high safety at the top.
And they run Jefferson, brought down at the 6-yard line. Wonder if they called that because they're going to go for it on 4th down. No, they're going to bring on the kicking team. You guys surprised there? They just called a quarterback run?
That's smart because you got an inexperienced quarterback and you're in the red area, Greg, and you cannot afford to make a mistake through the air.
That was an excellent play defensively by Ray Thornton, who came off the left-hand side. There was a lot of room. There was numbers. There was a lot of grass. If he doesn't make that play, I think Jefferson's into the end zone for 6.
So Limpert on for a 24-yard field goal try. And so Arkansas able to get something out of it after that long pass play. Jefferson to Burks, and it's 7-3 LSU. The next college football playoff top 25 rankings come out Tuesday night. We will have them exclusively live 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Also Rob Mullins, the committee chairman and also the athletic director at Oregon. He'll stop by to talk with Reese Davis. LSU for the 2nd straight week, #1 in the country. Moved past Ohio State after they knocked off Alabama. Ohio State won today. Georgia won today. Alabama, which is currently 5th, won today. Oregon is at Arizona State. They're kicking that game off shortly on ABC. Edwards-Helaire is deep. This will be a touchback. LSU will start this drive on the 25.
We talked about the productivity through the air and the accuracy for Joe Burrow. What I love is his ability to move in the pocket and be able to create opportunities for his receivers to extend the play. I mean, he gives them so much time to uncover. You see the cover, it's all good. He escapes, no problem. Allows his receiver to work the scramble drill and he gets it done. Then design runs. He just kind of lull you to sleep. They'll hand it to Helaire, Clyde Edwards-Helaire several times in a row. Then boom, he'll pull one, pick up a big play against Alabama. His legs were the difference against the Tide and big reason why they've been very successful in extending drives.
Burrow dumps it off to Edwards-Helaire here. Not much, maybe a couple. Good defense that time by Bumper Poole. In talking with Joe Burrow about this offense, he said, you know, he's really good friends with J.T. Barrett from when they were teammates at Ohio State. Barrett was with the Saints, and Joe Brady was an assistant coach there. The Tigers hired Brady from New Orleans to be the passing game coordinator and the receivers coach here. And so J.T. Barrett had a lot of good things to say to his friend Burrow about Joe Brady. And boy, this is an offense that's perfectly suited Joe Burrow. Edwards-Helaire wide open out of the backfield, pushed out of bounds, and looked like he's just right at the 35, which will be close to a first down.
And they just get Helaire out on a little flat after the pressure on the weak side. See Dijon Harris have to come all the way across the formation. Looked like Dijon Harris was yelling at somebody too. Might have had a bust between the linebacker and the front.
Greg, that's going to be an issue, I think, all night for Arkansas. It's tough to match up with Edwards-Helaire out of the backfield. He's just so undervalued in the passing game.
So it is a first down, and Burrow in trouble, dropped by Jonathan Marshall at the 29-yard line. That is a 6-yard loss.
It was a really nice job. You watch him, he's going to work around the edge as the center tries to block back to him. He's behind him before the center can reach, and obviously Joe Burrow has no choice but to go down and protect the football.
Give John Chavis credit, guys. This Arkansas defense is playing hard. They're playing with a lot of energy.
Inside 2 minutes to go in the first. 2nd and 16 for Burrow. Sends Edwards-Helaire in motion. Burrow steps up. A flag is down, and Burrow past the 40 before he steps out.
Joe Burrow, a keeper left side.
Arkansas is signaling that it's against LSU.
I think they get the left tackle for a hold.
Holding number 73 on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 2nd down.
That's senior Adrian McGee.
Yeah, you're going to see it here because of the twist. And as they try to work inside, you see McGee grab with his right arm. It's an easy call by the official, but you saw a little bit there of what we were talking about with Joe Burrow's mobility. If you overrush the quarterback and there's some space, he can really hurt you with his legs. Even though he's not a blazer by any stretch, but he is sneaky athletic in the open field.
So after the penalty, 2nd down and 25. Arkansas backs off. Burrow to Edwards-Helaire again out of the backfield. And gang tackled at the 25. Edwards-Helaire, 32 catches on the year coming in. He's been targeted often here. 3rd down and long.
I love Edwards-Helaire. I think he's so dynamic. He's been targeted, like you alluded to, already 5 times in the game. We're not even through one. So versatile. Reminds you a lot some of the great running backs that Sean Payton's employed just down the road, with Alvin Kamara and Darren Sproles before him in that Saints offense.
You play with Mark Ingram. People compare him to Ingram. Do you see it?
I think he's similar. He runs hard, very strong. I think he's a little better on the perimeter.
Here's Jamar Chase on 3rd and long. And Chase brought down to the 35. It's going to bring up a punt.
I think the similarities are reasonable. I mean, if you look at Ingram, he really made his hay between the tackles. Such a great runner, setting up defenders, setting up blockers. And Helaire makes a little bit more of his productivity happen on the edge in the passing game. But I can see why people think that their game is somewhat similar. They both run angry, that's for sure.
I think it's the build. You know, I think that Mark's taller,
but both stocky, for sure.
That's the end of the first quarter.
So from Arkansas' standpoint, you got to be happy. Only down 4, and you just forced a punt. 7-3. LSU leads after 1 here in Baton Rouge. To the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, Allstate. With Greg McElroy and Tom Luganbill, I'm Dave Pasch. LSU leads Arkansas 7-3. The #1 team in the country didn't punt at all last week against Ole Miss, but this is the 2nd punt of the first half for Von Rosenberg. And it's not a good one. Checks up and goes out of bounds around the 40-yard line. Only a 26-yard punt. True freshman quarterback K.J. Jefferson is the starting quarterback today, but Ben Hicks has played 6 games, started 4. Nick Starkel started a game, played in 7. John Stephen Jones, 3 games played, started a couple weeks ago against Western Kentucky. K.J. Jefferson getting the start here tonight, the first of his career. 18 years old.
And that's what they need to figure out moving forward, because the quarterback derby is impossible to develop any chemistry with the rest of your supporting cast.
He'll roll out here in the pass, but he caught it. It was batted right back to him, and he's dragged down at the 31. Jacoby Stevens deflected it right back to the quarterback. It's a loss of 8.
And this was one of those where you try to get it around a defender. Stevens hits it right back. Then you think about throwing it again. Don't do it. I think first instinct is throw it away after you did it already, but
I'm surprised Stevens didn't catch it.
Yeah, that's... He almost did.
He did.
Had both hands on it, but
I give Jefferson credit for not throwing it.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, because instinct would be dump it.
So they're off schedule on 2nd and 18, and Boyd is grabbed by Patrick Queen and brought down after a gain of about 3. Boyd is over 1,000 yards on the season. Had a couple of long touchdown runs 2 weeks ago against Western Kentucky. He's dangerous. If they can somehow get 2nd, 3rd short and keep the ball away from LSU by using Boyd, maybe they can stay in the game.
Yeah, Boyd is their best player. They're going to feature him not only just in the run game, but in the passing game as well. You got to think moving forward, if Arkansas wants to stay in this game, 5 needs to have plenty of opportunities.
Obviously 3rd and 16 is asking a lot here. They do screen it though, and Boyd gets a block. Look out! And he got the first down into LSU territory. That was a great play call and execution. A gain of 27 for Boyd.
Look at all this flow defensively from LSU. You'll see a bunch of defenders start working to the left because of the motion, and as a result, you just sneak Boyd right out into the right flat with the right guard, Stromberg, out in front. Excellent design and execution.
Boyd between the tackles, down to about the 37.
You know, Greg, that backfield action that we just saw on that screen, some similarities to a week ago with Ole Miss in their run game, and Dave Aranda, the LSU defensive coordinator, addressed it with his team. You can't be looking one way while the ball's going the opposite way. We saw a little bit of that right there on that screen.
And that misdirection is tough. And you try to use that misdirection if you're Arkansas, because LSU has a speed and athleticism advantage. So use that aggressiveness, use that athleticism against them, and Dave Aranda's got to do a better job keeping those linebackers at home and not chase the bait.
Here's a reverse. Burks looking to throw it, now keeps it. And boy, again, he stepped out of bounds, didn't know where he was on the field. He had the first down. I don't know why he went right to the sideline. That's the 2nd time we've seen an Arkansas player do that.
Let's give the quarterback a little love, because after he hands this thing off and it comes back around, the quarterback's releasing. I think they were trying to throw him the football. But watch KJ Jefferson. He says, no, this guy's playing me. So instead, I'm just going to block him. I'm just going to block him. That's a good job. That's an aware job by the quarterback. But you're right. I don't understand why Burks was so quick to get to the sideline, especially knowing
that was really bad.
The line to gain is right there, and you have plenty of room.
I know he's a true freshman and all, but now it's 3rd and 1 instead of a fresh set of downs. And Jefferson does get the first down. 230 pounds, able to move the pile down to the 25. And again, they're keeping that offense for LSU on the sideline. The Tigers scored 2.5 minutes in. But Arkansas has been able to control time of possession since.
And sometimes your best defense is your offense. And keeping Joe Burrow and that talented group of wide receivers on the sideline is huge. And LSU kind of searching a little bit. You see these last couple plays. That misdirection coming to the forefront for Arkansas, and LSU hasn't done a great job of staying at home.
Here's Devwa Whaley, pushed back at the 24, so a couple of yards there.
It's interesting, Arkansas is going to the interior of this LSU defense, Greg. That's the actual strength of the defense with the 2 tackle spots. But it's the perimeter that's caused LSU problems in the run game, and that's not something Arkansas has chosen to attack so far.
Yeah, sometimes, though, those body blows, you got to run inside, run inside, run inside. Those body blows over the course of a boxing match, those eventually wear you down. So maybe they're just trying to keep them honest by pressing the issue between the tackles to allow for some more opportunities on the perimeter.
Whaley trying to get outside, can't. The Tigers were all over that. Calebon Chasen was in the backfield, so a loss in the play. Going to bring up 3rd down and long here for Arkansas. A 4-yard setback for Whaley.
And in this spot, if I'm Arkansas, I don't want to put my quarterback in a difficult spot. Obviously, 3rd and long on the road, going towards the student section. You got to think Dave Aranda is probably going to have something up his sleeve here to try to rattle this quarterback and try to knock Arkansas out of field goal range with a sack. So I might be thinking with a screen or a draw or something that's somewhat conservative, but still gives you a chance to create some positive yardage.
Play clock winding down. Lunny's going to call a timeout here. There was only one on the play clock. That's the second time here in the first half. They've had to use a timeout because the play clock was about to expire.
Timeout, Razorbacks. The next game is sponsored by People's Health. People's Health is proud to be the official health plan of LSU Athletics. If you have Medicare.
For over 200 yards in that game. Since then, 10 straight losses to #1 teams, but how about 17 straight conference losses? They haven't won an SEC game in 2 years. Not saying they're going to win this one, but they're only down 7-3. Third down and long. Jefferson going deep. He overthrows the intended receiver, Trey Knox. So it'll be a field goal try of about 47 yards for Connor Limpert, who has made a 54-yarder this year and hit a 24-yarder in the first quarter of this game.
And I think Arkansas was thinking what I was thinking, that Dave Aranda's going to try to heat you up. They're going to blitz you because it'll knock you out of field goal range. So they went with the full protection, tried to get a one-on-one. But Dave Aranda made a good defensive call there by playing soft coverage and forcing the incompletion.
Well, this would do a ton for the confidence of this Razorback team if they could pay off the drive with a long field goal. And Limpert nails it. So Arkansas within one of #1 early in the second quarter.
This was a beauty. Plenty of distance, right into the student section. No problem for Limpert.
So Arkansas able to keep LSU's potent offense on the sideline. Picked up a third down and long on a screen pass to Boyd, and the true freshman KJ Jefferson gets them into field goal range. This is a trophy game, the boot at stake. But obviously much more at stake for LSU if the Tigers were to somehow lose this game. With a win, they would clinch a spot in the SEC title game. Georgia's already in. And obviously, even if LSU wins this game, the College Football Playoff Committee is looking at everything. How much you won by. How you looked over the course of a game. So Limpert will kick it deep to Edwards-Helaire. We'll see how LSU comes out if it decides to attack offensively as Moss signals for the fair catch. So Joe Burrow's dad, Jim, longtime coach, also a player at Nebraska and then with the Montreal Alouettes, and then worked for Frank Solich at Ohio. He was the defensive coordinator from 2005 to 2018, but he retired last year so he could be at every game. Come watch his son Joe play.
It's awesome, man. I mean, just awesome. And obviously, Joe is a cerebral guy. I mean, I think he owes a lot of his success as a quarterback to probably matching wits with his dad in the living room. I mean, it's amazing just how good he's been this year.
And Moss wide open down the seam as Burrow is on target for 22 yards.
A beautiful throw here, and Thaddeus Moss is the most underappreciated guy on this roster. I mean, he blocks for him, he's physical, he gets vertical, and he can create a lot of stress on the defense.
So they're going up tempo here after Arkansas scored. And Burrow finds Justin Jefferson. Well, we all know that it was Greg McElroy Sr. in all those living room conversations that got you to where you are today.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We were talking about hockey and basketball. I have a feeling, though, matching wits with a defensive coordinator, I think Joe knows where the voids are in defense. That's for sure. He's found them often throughout the course of the season.
Play fake for Burrow. And it's a first down catch for Chase. And he stayed in bounds. Nope, stepped out. They say that forward progress was stopped at the 41. It's an 8-yard gain.
I can tell you guys, being the son of a defensive coach, when you're an offensive guy, it's a big deal. I mean, for Joe Burrow, when you're talking football with your dad and he's a defensive guy, that's big.
Burrow off play action, and Moss wide open in the middle of the field, and Randy Moss's son Thad inside the 15 down to the 11. 30 more yards.
Just a bust defensively here as no one is around Moss as he caught just about 5 or 6 yards downfield. A good job keeping his eyes downfield.
Good play in the backfield on Davis Price by Dijon Harris, their leading tackler. So a negative play on first down, loss of about 3. But LSU going up tempo here. Check that loss of 1 based on forward progress, and an empty set here for Burrow. So Edwards-Helaire getting the series off with true freshman Tyrion Davis Price in the game at running back, although you see him there flexed out.
Keep an eye right here. And Steven Sullivan got a lot of length. Let's see if they look at a fade.
Instead Burrow, and there's a lot of contact. The flag. He was going for Jamar Chase. Joe Fouché in coverage.
And you'll see it right here. As Chase releases, watch this right hand.
Pass interference on the defense, number 7. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed on the 2-yard line. First down.
You see him just grab the jersey. It's a good call by the official, trying to go with a slot fade. Had him up top, had him down low.
Well, people might have just turned the TV on, probably surprised to look at the score, but this has been an impressive drive by LSU. And the Tigers looking to punch it in here on first down and goal from the 2.
Keep an eye on the one-on-one here, potentially with Chase on a fade.
There they hand it off, and into the end zone is Davis Price, his 5th touchdown of the season. Made it look pretty easy on that drive. Tyrion Davis Price, 6'1", 225-pound true freshman running back. They've got 3 freshman running backs and a junior, and they're all really good. The extra point by York makes it 14-6. LSU midway through the second quarter.
We got all the makings of a Saturday night.
Gill being honored here.
He's the best, man. I love Shaq. He is awesome.
Won 3 straight finals MVPs for the Lakers, 2000 to 2002. Touchback, it'll come out to the 25. Let's take a look back at our Buick Drive recap.
Yeah, getting Thaddeus Moss involved in the passing game here, working a seam vertical against that single high safety. Just a nice zone. Joe Burrow sees it right off the snap, throws a beautiful football right there. And then they lose him over the middle. They have a bust defensively. No one accounts for Moss as he just sits it up 5 or 6 yards downfield and bursts forward for a nice yards after catch. Of course, they paid it off the 1-yard plunge, but they upped the tempo a little bit that last drive to try to jumpstart the engine of this LSU offense.
Now let's see how Arkansas responds. They've been able to move the ball against LSU's defense. And they run Boyd, trying to get to the edge, and he can't because of Patrick Queen. Only a 1-yard pickup for Rakeem Boyd.
And that's probably the position group that I want to see really start to play better down the stretch, the linebackers. Of course, last year, Devin White was such an eraser. He was so amazing. Second-level defenders between Patrick Queen and Phillips, they've had moments where they've been excellent, but they've also had moments in which they've been a little bit of a liability. So the linebackers advancing to a point where they play to their talent level is going to be huge for this team in the stretch run.
No Michael Divinity, right? Suspended. Could be back for the title game if they get that far. Here's Boyd. And he's to the 32, so he'll come up about 3 yards shy of a first down. It's a big third down here. Again, try to keep LSU's offense on the sideline.
Well, they're moving the football, and they're taking their time doing it, which is important. You talk about keeping the offense on the sideline. Just keep possession of the ball. They've got to continue to stay in 3rd and short like they are here, but this crowd can't get up.
Flag is down, and there was some movement by Arkansas.
Prior to the snap, false start, 51 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
So much for third and short. This one was on another freshman, Ricky Stromberg.
Well, it's a shame, too, because, you know, you're backed up here into the closed end of the stadium. And Arkansas is not the type of team that's built to be in a lot of third and longs right now.
And at this point, KJ Jefferson, probably a little better athlete than he is an accurate passer. So third down, tight coverage, tough spot for Arkansas's offense. And you look at LSU, too. I mean, they are being really aggressive up front. You look at these defenders, press man coverage with Stingley down here at the bottom, press up top with Fulton.
And here they come. Jefferson's pass is caught, but Boyd is knocked down immediately by Kerry Vincent. It's fourth down.
When they tried to hit the screen earlier, this time Vincent is going to sniff it out as Boyd comes across the formation, and they go into the blitz. Usually when you have a blitz called and you run the screen into it, it's very likely to be successful, but Vincent recognized it, beat the offensive line into the spot, made a great play.
Lloyd just got it away. And the fair catch made by Stingley at the 37-yard line. LSU back on offense after a 39-yard punt. All right, thank you, Matt. And here it's 14-6. LSU ranked number 1 in the country. The last time the Tigers were 11-0, it was 2011, where they went 13-0 before losing to Alabama in the national championship. The last time the Tigers won the national title was 2007. That was obviously prior to the playoff, and LSU had 2 losses that year. Beat Ohio State. 8-point lead. Burrow to the air again. And a lot of running room for Edwards-Helaire. And close to a first down, showing great balance. Gain of 10 on the play.
Just look at Joe Burrow's climb. I mean, and a complete afterthought. According to some, he was maybe a 6th, 7th round pick if he were to come out last year. Now, see 62 after 1 month of the season, now all the way up to 2. A lot of people think he might get picked by the Bengals the first overall.
Burrow gets out of trouble here, keeps it, and runs out of bounds after a gain of a couple. Well, we know what the strengths are, but what are the weaknesses? I'm not necessarily talking about NFL right now. I'm talking about trying to win a national championship, because, you know, what's the best defense they played so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best defense is Auburn, obviously, and they're going to have another great opportunity, more than likely, against Georgia in a couple weeks. But the defenses in the SEC have had no answer for Joe Burrow for the most part. Auburn did the best job, but he still made a lot of plays in that game as well. Man, I mean, the only way to really slow him down right now is with that pass rush, and not a lot of teams that can provide it.
Here he is on 2nd down and 8, and it's a first down for McMath inside the 40-yard line. And Burrow is so accurate. I mean, he's completing almost 80% of his passes. It's incredible.
Greg, I think so much of it is his decisiveness.
Yeah.
Watch how fast the ball comes out. He knows where to go pre-snap. He diagnoses post-snap, and the ball is out.
He doesn't lack confidence either, man. We found that out in our meeting with him yesterday. Burrow on first down. Dumps it off, and it's another first down. This time it's Marshall. Penalty marker is down, though.
He is so decisive. I mean, doesn't like anything to the right, no problem. Scans right back across the field. Finds probably 4th in the progression, frankly, as you work from right to left. Offensive line gives him plenty of time to make a play.
On the defense, number 2. The penalty is declined. Result of the play is the first down.
For Cameron Curl, but again, the penalty is declined.
Greg, would you agree, and you and I talked about this earlier in the week, I think it's a misnomer that this is a big RPO-based team now that Joe Brady has joined the staff. They're really not. They're an isolation, one-on-one, downfield team.
Yeah, their pure progression drop back, aggressive downfield. That's who they are. They're not really RPO. Do they have RPOs? Yes, everybody does.
Right.
But they don't major in it. It's just a little wrinkle of what they do offensively.
They run it here. Edwards-Helaire inside the 15-yard line, heading for the end zone. Touchdown, LSU. SEC leading 13th rushing touchdown for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And now just 4 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. So it was 7-6 about 4 minutes ago, but LSU scores 2 touchdowns in a heartbeat. And York with the extra point.
Well, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to get his name in the paper. But let's give some love to the big fella up front. Let's watch this right guard, Damian Lewis, work. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a pancake as LSU takes control and extends their lead. 21-6 Tigers.
Student section is on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete or get the committee's attention by using hashtag LiveMa Student Section Contest. It was rocking pregame since the LSU Tigers had not played a home game since they beat Auburn back late October. And the #1 team in the country with a 15-point lead. We've got a touchback, so we'll check in with Matt Berry in the studio. All right, Matt, obviously playoff implications for the Oregon Ducks and the Pac-12. And for the SEC with Georgia beating A&M. LSU has A&M next week. Here in Baton Rouge, KJ Jefferson rolling out, and a long throw that's incomplete. Burks, the intended receiver. Kerry Vincent in coverage. Looked like a good ball by Jefferson.
It was. That was a good throw, Greg.
Yeah, it was right on the money. This is a play that you saw Ole Miss do a couple times, and Alabama, frankly, to LSU. And that play on the corner route to the slot hit every single time. Clearly, LSU worked on that one this week, as it is a copycat league, and Arkansas pulled one that was successful against LSU the last couple.
Maybe Vincent arrived early, got the right arm of the receiver right before the ball got there. Maybe that was enough to make it an incompletion. Empty set on 2nd and 10 for the true freshman quarterback. A design run here, and Jefferson wrapped up, but he drags a defender out to the 30-yard line. Jacoby Stevens was trying to take him down and could not, so it puts him in 3rd and reasonable.
Pretty good effort there by Jefferson. He's trying to drag the pile, and this is a critical 3rd down. Obviously, the clock's starting to wind down. Not yet a factor here at end of half, but we know how quickly this LSU offense can score. So extending the drive and making sure LSU doesn't have a 2-minute opportunity is huge.
Jefferson will throw it. Pressure coming. Jefferson hit, but escapes. And he slides, but it's where the ball is, not where the feet are. And Jefferson, if he goes head first, gets the 1st down. Instead, it's 4th down, and Arkansas will have to punt.
Man, this is just brutal. I mean,
wow.
I understand, hey, protect yourself at all costs. It's 3rd down, and you're 230 pounds. I mean, you have to know the situation in the game, where you're at on the field. How much do you need? And you got to be willing at that point in a critical down and distance to lower the shoulder.
I mean, we've seen this happen now twice with Jefferson, once with the receiver, where at least you had a crack at getting the 1st down. And I don't know if he doesn't know. Does he not know where he is on the field there, Greg?
I don't think he realizes how far he has to go to get the 1st down. And I think You probably protect yourself. Coaches, more often than not, are trying to talk quarterbacks into sliding. Most quarterbacks' first instinct, I want to lower my shoulder. No. Protect yourself. You're too important to the team. But right there in a critical down and distance, you have full momentum. You're 230 pounds. Lower your shoulder and see if you can't use that momentum and wait to surge forward for the conversion.
Maybe it's a misunderstanding of the rule. Maybe he's not aware that, again, it's not about where you finish your slide. It's where you start the slide and where the ball is when you start the slide.
That's just awareness of not knowing where the yard to gain.
Stingley is back deep. Gonna let this one go, and it takes an Arkansas bounce inside the 15 and inside the 10.
Well, last week, LSU really struggled against quarterback run. You look at this quarterback counter for John Rice Plumlee going to the weak side. You see Patrick Queen over pursue, and nobody's home as Rice Plumlee takes the distance. Then you look at how they're playing tonight. A little bit slower, allowing it to come to them a little bit more, and doing a really nice job rallying to the football when the quarterback escapes and pulls it for a quarterback zone read. So it's really been kind of a night and day difference between last week's second half performance and this week's. The problem with LSU is they haven't put 60 minutes together defensively. They'll give you 30, but we haven't seen 60. So when they come out in the second half, will the effort and execution resemble that of what they did these first 30 minutes?
All three timeouts, a minute 51 to work with. Burrow to Edwards-Helaire over the middle. And tripped up at the 25 by Fouché. Otherwise, he might still be running. Gain of 15.
Great start to their 2-minute drive. Plenty of time. No need to think about timeouts at this point.
Burrow. High and incomplete. Went for Chase. So it stops the clock with a minute 32 to go.
Such a great opportunity, too, Greg, for Joe Burrow in this offense to have a 2-minute drill. You're in control of the game and work your plan. These are valuable moments for this team down the stretch here in November.
Absolutely. End of half. Really, really important.
Left tackle just came up out of his stance. Arkansas, did it come across there into the neutral zone? There was movement by Arkansas, but I don't know that they came into the neutral zone.
Offside on the defense, number 7. He's in the neutral zone, causing the offensive player to react. 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's like Lunny is saying it's football.
Yeah, and you watch Fouché, he does show the pressure, and I agree with the call. And as soon as Fouché aggressively approaches the line of scrimmage and gets in the neutral zone, I understand that Lunny is disappointed, but I think that was the correct call by the officials.
It happened again. Boy, the mental errors by Arkansas. I mean, we had them against Alabama about a month ago, and they played okay in the first half, but it was their mental errors.
On the defense, number 7 in the neutral zone, causing the offensive player to react. 5 yards, first down.
Yeah, and you watch Fouché coming off the edge. He's in the neutral zone, very clear. And as you see, McGee smartly kind of reaches and moves. That's a free 5 yards.
Not only was he in the neutral zone, he almost was in the backfield. Lack of discipline, and that's why, big reason why head coach is no longer here, despite being in just his second year, as Chase is loose at midfield into Arkansas territory before he's bottled up. So a 21-yard gain. Plenty of time for LSU here. Clock stops as they reset the chains. They don't have to use a timeout.
Plenty of time. No need to use timeouts. Can still run the football if you want to as well.
Burrow looking, and another receiver comes open, but man, it's dropped. Jefferson started to run right away. He was thinking a house call, and he forgot to secure the football.
He's wide open, right in the middle of the field. No one within 5 or 6 yards of him. That's one where you're just almost too open.
Yeah.
You're definitely thinking about the yards after catch that could be created. When LSU gets in this 5 receiver set, there's so many weapons on the field. Just pick your matchup. Which one do you like?
I'm standing here on the side and looking at the exact same thing. Wow.
Burrow underneath. And Jefferson made the catch. Good tackle by Harris. So we're inside a minute to go. LSU electing not to use a timeout.
And Greg, that's the whole goal of offensive football. How do I get my best guy on your worst guy? And all of their guys are better.
Burrow on 3rd and 6. It is caught for a first down by Jefferson. So again, the clock will stop to reset the chains. They are now in field goal range for their true freshman kicker, Cade York, who I saw make a 58-yarder on the field before the game. And right here it'd be about 55 yards. They're taking a lot of time here, though.
Joe Burrow's antsy. You can see the sense of urgency in him. Look at him. He's upset.
Yeah. Now they call a timeout. 33 seconds remaining. And 1 timeout left for LSU. Kickoff for your Week 12 NFL Sunday with ESPN and the ESPN app tomorrow morning at 10 Eastern with the Sunday NFL Countdown crew. Then a great game Monday night. Ravens and Rams in Los Angeles. Might be a must-win for the Rams to make the playoffs. And the Ravens, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Obviously, part of our Sunday NFL Countdown team is Randy Moss, his son Thaddeus Moss, junior tight end.
Yeah, I can't wait for that Monday night game. And I love so much. I love so much to hear all these NFL guys now saying, oh, this Lamar Jackson is something.
You're an NFL guy.
We knew that.
You're an NFL guy.
Thank you for telling us what we knew. Lamar Jackson's incredible. And to watch him play this season has been so refreshing. And the Ravens are playing excellent football right now, that's for sure. And he's a magician, man. I mean, everyone knocked him. Well, can he throw? Is he accurate? He can throw it.
He can throw it.
Come on now. You didn't think he was going to be this good.
I didn't think he'd be an MVP in 3 years. No, but I thought he'd be a franchise quarterback for a really long time if you had a coach that was willing to adopt and manage what he would do well, and that's quarterback run and trying to create plays with his legs. And they've done a beautiful job of that there in Baltimore.
This is a guy here that's turned himself into an NFL prospect. Joe Burrow. 33 seconds to go. Has his team on the move, leading by 15. Climbs the pocket, now takes off. Burrow inside the 25, inside the 15, and steps out of bounds to stop the clock. It'll be 1st and goal. A 22-yard run for Burrow.
This is the part of his game that is so undervalued. I mean, he's very accurate. He's very decisive. Great arm. His legs make him very difficult to defend, especially when you spread the field as wide as LSU does here.
Always critical moments too, Greg.
Yeah, and you look at, I mean, this is a perfect scenario, okay? Where's my best matchup? My best matchup for LSU is right here. Jamar Chase working press coverage, and if I can get him on a fade possibly, that's where I want to throw the football.
Burrow passes, batted down. Bumper Pool got a piece of that. 20 seconds to go, and still 1 timeout.
And he was trying to go to Chase, who had an option route. You see Chase there in the slot, trying to work the middle of the field. That time wasn't to be because of the excellent job up front, knocking the ball down. Same formation, same look defensively. Let's see if they look back in the direction of Jamar Chase, who's working against press coverage.
We'll get into the second half a little bit of how the play calling goes down as Arkansas is going to call a timeout here with Steve Ensminger and Joe Brady. Maybe now is a good time to touch on that because it's been a difference maker with this LSU team. Steve Ensminger is the offensive coordinator. We talked a lot about Joe Brady, but Ensminger is the primary play caller. Brady will spend a lot of times while the defense is out there talking with Burrow on the phone. You got to give Ensminger a lot of credit, right? To bury the ego and allow this young guy to come in to make you a better offense.
It's amazing. I cannot say enough nice things about what Coach Ensminger done this year. I mean, willing to check your ego at the door, what you're doing. You're not allowing, right now, you're not allowing the offense to take flight. So they identify Joe Brady a couple years back. Of course, right down the road, the New Orleans Saints the last couple seasons, and Steve Ensminger said, man, bring him in. I want to learn more football. Ensminger on the right, of course, Joe Brady on the left. on your screen right here. Just amazing to see those two guys work in tandem and both crediting each other for making each other better in the process of putting forth one of the most exciting offenses in college football.
He's the unsung hero of this entire thing, and I don't think people have talked about it enough.
You're talking about Ensminger being the unsung hero.
No doubt about it. Big time.
2nd and goal for LSU. 20 seconds remaining. They have a timeout, so they can run it.
Watch and see in this bunch formation. Keep an eye on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's at running back, and see if he slips out into the flat potentially.
Burrow to the air again. Gets rid of the pass in time. It's caught, and it's another touchdown. Justin Jefferson hits pay dirt. Penalty flags are thrown after the celebration. Justin Jefferson, one of 3 brothers to play at LSU. Older brother Jordan, he was one of the quarterbacks on that 2011 SEC championship team, the last time the Tigers won the SEC. That is the 12th touchdown of the year for Jefferson. And assuming that the penalty was after the play was over. How about how Ensminger and Brady spread the ball around? I mean, obviously Burrow does a lot of that, but they got so many weapons. They do a good job getting everybody touches.
The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 22 of the offense, number 2 of the offense, number 1 of the offense. That is their first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Now you may be wondering, okay, so why are they announcing all those numbers? Well, if any of those players that they just announced get a second unsportsmanlike conduct, they would be ejected from the game, which with the score being 27-6 may not matter. They get their 66th touchdown, tying a school record, and it's now 28-6 LSU. It was 7-6 midway through the 2nd quarter.
Now, this is a really cool design here. You're going to see 2 guys run this way, and they're going to work Helaire on the wheel route. However, he's covered, so they just find this crossing route coming across from right to left. Burrow does a great job of buying a little extra time because there was a free rusher. Sliding to his left, very under control, eyes downfield, accurate throw in stride, and Jefferson does the rest. Nice design and a great job by their quarterback, allowing it to uncover.
And so Jefferson and Chase a combined 26 receiving touchdowns, the second in SEC history with 12 or more. Mike Hilliard and Chris Doering doing it for Florida back in '95. How about Joe Burrow now? 40 touchdown passes. We're talking about an LSU quarterback. All the issues over the years at quarterback here in Baton Rouge, and this guy's got 40. And probably on his way to the Heisman.
It's amazing. It really is. And honestly, you look at LSU's personnel, that's why you have to give unbelievable credit to Ed Orgeron, because he's recruited unbelievable players at the wide receiver spots. And he said, you know what? Let's put those guys in the forefront. Let's embrace the fact that football now is about scoring points and empowering their offense. So Burrow's been insanely good. You got to give credit to his personnel around him as well.
Kicked out of bounds, so penalty flag. I just love the fact that Ed Orgeron said, you know what, we can't do it this way anymore. We've got to change how we do things offensively, and boy, has it paid off.
It certainly has. And if you look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's a big reason for the change as well, because he's so good in space. You look at him here between the tackles. But this is where he really does his damage in the passing game. When you can involve him in the route tree and create matchups with safeties and linebackers, it's huge. And I mentioned his ability on the perimeter to make guys miss. He's so low to the ground that he's a really, really, really small target. And as you're running up and trying to hit the guy, sometimes you don't see him all the time. Next thing you know, he's on you. He's lowering his shoulder because he's very, very powerful, even though he isn't exactly the biggest. I don't care how big you are. I really don't at running back. Obviously, he's plenty big enough. And anyone that thinks he's not strong or powerful, it is crazy to me, because I think he is excellent.
Well, Greg, he's short. He's not small.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, guys, this was interesting. LSU, because of the penalty for unsportsmanlike, then kicking the ball out of bounds. Arkansas has a chance maybe to get a field goal here. They don't have any timeouts. And then the pass thrown out of bounds. So 9 seconds left. You know, could you get 10 more yards and give Connor Limpert, who's made a 54-yarder, can you get him a chance?
Well, and Greg and Dave, I was watching Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator for LSU, right prior to Arkansas's offense taking the field, and just telling the guys, stay deep is the deepest. Get back. We'll take the underneath throw and tackle it, but stay back.
And they definitely had a teachable moment like that against Alabama, where they gave up a huge play with the 2-score lead late in that game. So clearly adjusting on the fly here, saying, hey, we're going to play Hail Mary prevent defense, and it's exactly how they're lined up.
LSU calls a timeout. Its final timeout of the half.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Well, tomorrow night, catch NFL Primetime with Boomer and TJ, 7:30 Eastern. It's only on ESPN+. Nobody takes you through all the highlights and breaks down every game like they do. Show's available to stream each week, so you can watch it anytime you want. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, on any device you choose. To get ESPN+, download the app or go to ESPNplus.com. Dave Pasch, Greg McElroy, Tom Luganville in Baton Rouge. LSU ranked #1 in the country. If it wins this game, the Tigers secure a spot in the SEC championship against Georgia. That's the team they beat back in 2011 when they won their last SEC title. And obviously a lot of scenarios will be in play if somehow Georgia were to win that game. LSU has A&M on ESPN in primetime next Saturday night. That's not a gimme. Arkansas, 9 seconds left, out of timeouts, just trying to get something to the sideline. And Jefferson instead throws it over the middle. 5 seconds to go, and now it's just about a Hail Mary. They've only got 3 yards their last 10 plays, Arkansas. Again, with about 7.5 minutes to go in this quarter. It was 7-6 LSU.
Just shows you how quickly things can get away from you when you're playing against a team that has this much firepower offensively. So it's going to be really important for Arkansas coming out. They get the ball in the second half. Really important to come out and get points on that opening drive.
Jefferson throws it underneath for some reason, and that is the end of the first half. A teaching moment there. You see Barry Lunny calling over his quarterback, who does have a bright future. True freshman making his first start. Joe Burrow, 2 more touchdown passes, now 40 this season. All right, let's check in with Tom, who's standing by with Coach O.
Well, Coach, you had an opportunity to run the 2-minute drill. How would you assess how the execution of it?
Great job by Joe. Great job offensive line. Great calling by Stevens, making Joe Brittany.
How would you assess the performance of the defense so far in 2 quarters?
Really good. Held up for 6 points. We thought we were playing the run well, tackling well. Arkansas came to fight. We played for 60 minutes. This is a great game.
Thank you, Coach.
Go Tigers.
All right, so 28-6 is the score at halftime. LSU trying to get to 11-0 as we send you to Matt Berry, Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway. It's 28-6 as we get you ready for the second half. Dave Pasch with Greg McElroy and Tom Luganville down on the field. Your thoughts on what you saw from the offense from LSU in the first half?
Joe Burrow was so efficient, not just through the air, but with his legs. But really the star of the show there in the first half was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And it wasn't just by running the football. He was so active in the passing game, targeted 7 times. He caught it 7 times. I mean, he really was dynamic in creating some of those mismatches against both safeties and linebackers for Arkansas.
Arkansas will get the ball to start the second half. This will be a touchback, so Arkansas will start on the 25.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is so good in this offense because of the mismatches that he can create. Here he is just working a little angle route. No problem. Nice and easy. And nice run after catch, too. Here he is in the slot, finding one-on-one with space against Bumper Pool. And here he is again with Fouché on that angle route, working the middle of the field. Because of that angle route, he runs right at the defender, and then boom, he shifts inside and hits it very, very quickly with his acceleration. You see how efficient that connection has been tonight. between Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
But only 9 rushes, 25 passes by LSU in that first half. Boyd trying to find some running room, and he's able to get a first down out to the 36. Checking with Tom down on the field.
Well, guys, talking with Arkansas head coach Barry Lunney, he really just said that we've got to get some stability with our quarterback. We've got to get him to understand the awareness and the situation on the field where he's at. And we've got to start the third quarter the way we started the first quarter. The second quarter was just a complete debacle the way he put it.
Yeah, KJ Jefferson, true freshman, looked like it for the most part in that first half. A deep ball here from Jefferson, and it's caught inside the 30. There's a penalty flag down. Treylon Burks on the catch. 39-yard pass play if it holds up. Just as we said that he made a lot of mental mistakes, Jefferson, and some physical mistakes in the first half, he puts one right on the money downfield to Burks.
Pass interference on the defense, number 5. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
It's on Kerry Vincent.
That's got to be a huge confidence builder now for this young quarterback, for them to just get some semblance of a positive play in the passing game with the second quarter being so poor, Greg.
Yeah, that's exactly how you want to start the second half. Trying to get back into this game. Just get your quarterback started early, and do so with a really nice downfield throw.
And this is going to be a negative play, though, as Boyd is stuffed by Rashard Lawrence at the 30-yard line. A loss of a couple on the play. Lawrence with 2 tackles for a loss. So you look at the last 9:43 of the half. LSU completely dominated. Prior to that, the game was even.
LSU can just score so quickly. And if you go 3 and out on offense, which Arkansas did a little bit there in the latter part of the first half, your defense is going to spend a lot of time on the field, and that is not a recipe for success against Joe Burrow and this talented group of wide receivers.
Play action pass. Jefferson gets hit and sacked. It's Jacoby Stevens, his 3rd sack of the year. Setback of 7 yards.
Jacoby Stevens just coming right off the right edge, and nobody's accounts for him. You think for a second that Boyd is going to vacate that fake and pick off the edge pressure. Instead, he doesn't. He's late getting to it. A good job by Stevens recognizing that, closing in for the sack. Excellent play by the LSU defense.
I love talking to Stevens yesterday. He said the biggest reason why growing up in Mississippi he became attracted to LSU, Mike the Tiger, the mascot. They're just going to run Boyd here in 3rd and 21. That gets him back into field goal range down to the 27-yard line. And so Connor Limpert, who is 2 of 2, will come back on for a 3rd attempt. Made a 47-yarder and a 24-yarder in the first half.
It's a positive drive here for Arkansas, though. If it ends in points, it's a positive drive. You have to get something on this first drive of the second half, so your guys are feeling good about the adjustments that were made, and I think they did a good job of getting Limpert a chance.
45-yard attempt. Boy, the long snapper got run over that time, and the field goal is no good. Missed it wide left.
ESPN, home of the New Year's Six and the College Football Playoff.
And obviously at Orgeron and the LSU Tigers hoping they'll be part of the College Football Playoff. With a win tonight, they would go to 11-0. Last national championship was 2007, back in the BCS era, when they had 2 losses and still won the title, beating Ohio State. They still have A&M next week, LSU, and then Georgia in the SEC title game. Here's Moss. First down out across the 40-yard line. Joe Burrow continues to break LSU records and lead the country in several categories. How about this one? 27 first half touchdowns, which leads FBS. 2 here tonight.
It's pretty amazing. First half, 27. Most guys would kill for 27 touchdowns in a season.
He's got 40 on the season, and he hits Jamar Chase into Arkansas territory. Chase still going. Finally wrapped up. The ball came out. They rule forward. Progress dead. They do not. Arkansas has the ball. It's a turnover forced by the Razorback defense.
They're obviously going to look at it.
A fumble recovered by Arkansas. First down.
Cameron Curl comes away with the ball. They did not blow the whistle.
And it's as he's fighting to the ground. Curl has it right there. Is he down before the ball becomes dislodged? Of course, it's called a fumble on the field, so the replay review has to show indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt that the ball was in fact out.
Looks like it's starting to come out, but again, unless, like you say, Greg, it's unless you can prove that the call on the field is wrong, how do you overturn that?
The ruling on the field was a fumble recovered
just
by
hard to
Arkansas.
tell, where does that right elbow go down for Jamar Chase? Is that right elbow down before the ball becomes dislodged? He was kind of on Curl. Right there, is the elbow down, is the ball out? I just don't think there's enough to tell you for sure that he was down.
We were watching the Penn State-Ohio State game today, and there was a play that wasn't all that dissimilar from this, where we kind of thought it was out, but again, you know, can you overturn it with replay based on the angles you have? And that one was not overturned. And
I thought there was more evidence on that one than there is on this one.
See, you see that left arm get away from his body. Is the ball moving at that point as he's traveling to the ground? It's really close. Watch the left arm on this angle.
This should never have happened, though. This should. I mean, Arkansas had an opportunity to get Jamar Chase down 3 or 4 times. And I mean, this is just fortunate if it works out for the Razorbacks, where, you know, Chase got an extra 15 yards after contact because Arkansas couldn't tackle him.
I just don't think there's enough to overturn. I really don't. I mean, it's really close.
Ruling on the field is a fumble. Arkansas would get the football at the 42-yard line if this stands.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Yep.
First down, Arkansas.
I don't know what we thought. So let's see if the Razorbacks can do something with it. Just missed a field goal moments ago, and now they get the ball back. True freshman quarterback K.J. Jefferson, the 4th starting quarterback this year for an Arkansas team that is 2-8, 0-6 in the SEC, and has an interim coach now in Barry Lunney after Chad Morris was fired 2 weeks ago. They've lost 17 consecutive SEC games. It will be their first 3-year span without a bowl appearance since the early 90s. Jefferson's pass on the money to Burks. There's some young talent. Burks is one of them, along with Trey Knox, 2 good-looking true freshman receivers, and obviously there's some upside with the quarterback, K.J. Jefferson. Got an injured Razorback at the 35-yard line, and it's Rakeem Boyd, our outstanding running back.
I hope he's okay. He was trying to pick up the blitzer on the right side. We'll see how Rakeem Boyd's doing in a second.
Razorback shaken up.
95 team that went to the SEC title game. He's now the interim coach after Chad Morris was fired, as you look at the Boyd injury.
And you saw Boyd, that cornerback blitz off the right side. He went to pick it up, and hopefully he'll be okay. It was a pretty violent play between him and Christian Fulton.
Off of that movement by Arkansas, another mental mistake.
Prior to the snap, false start, 51 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
We asked Barry Lunney this week, how did you handle that first coaches meeting? And he said, look, I told him, I'm sure there are plenty of guys in this room that were certainly capable of being named interim head coach. I'm going to do my best to try to get these guys to play hard the last 2 weeks. Said that Chad Morris reached out to him and told him that he was pulling for him. And obviously, when your head coach is let go and the rest of the staff is staying, your fate is probably determined, as Whaley is thrown down at midfield on 1st and 15, a gain of a couple.
Interim obviously is such a difficult spot to be in, and you do see guys though that have had the interim tag removed, including the guy that's patrolling the sidelines of the #1 ranked team in the country, Annette Ogeron. And Dabo Swinney, a couple national titles there at Clemson, and Matt Luke did a great job in a difficult spot there for Ole Miss a couple years back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Barry Lunney as things move forward. I do think it's been a spirited effort tonight. The execution's still been somewhat disappointing at times, but the guys are playing hard for him, and that's something you got to appreciate.
On 2nd and 13, Jefferson rolling to his left, in trouble and sacked by Stevens. Let's go to Matt Berry in the studio. And Oklahoma clinches a berth in the Big 12 championship game with a win. Baylor is already in, beat Texas. And how about that thrilling game between Baylor and Oklahoma last week? The Sooners coming back to win on 3rd and 24. Whaley maybe gets 10 or 12, but it's 4th down, and Arkansas is going to have to punt the ball here. Is it a desirable job, Arkansas, still? When I say that, I mean, clearly the money's good and you're in the SEC, but can't you win the way Bobby Petrino did? And, Brett Bielema had some good moments there early on.
It's tougher than ever because of A&M's presence in the SEC. Texas A&M came in. They said to the Texas kids that Arkansas used to recruit very heavily, said, hey, you can stay at home and play for your state school. So that has really made it difficult for Arkansas since 2012 when A&M joined the SEC.
Fair catch at the 15-yard line. Don't forget Tuesday night 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys breaking it down from top to bottom. Also a live interview with committee chairman Rob Mullins. Guys, if this holds up here, if LSU wins this game, do you see any changes? Because Alabama won easily today over an inferior opponent. Georgia beat A&M. Ohio State knocked off Penn State.
I don't think so. I think the top 4 are as they are. The one thing that could get interesting is 5 through 7, depending on what happens with Oregon and Utah and Alabama.
Edwards-Helaire gets the carry. There he goes, past the 30. And look at him stiff-arm the defender, Fouché, all the way to the 50 for a 35-yard scamper.
There's a great job on the front side. You're going to see these 2 double teams. You see a double team here, and he's just going to split it. A really, really nice job getting to the 2nd level by the right guard, Damian Lewis. He had an excellent pancake block on the big run earlier for the touchdown. That time he gets to the 2nd level. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets out in space for a nice gain.
Play action here for Burrow with a ton of time. Wide open man. Jamar Chase walks in. Touchdown Tigers.
This is a really neat design here. You're going to see Thaddeus Moss run up and run a corner route, which grabs the safety. And then sure enough, you're going to see Jamar Chase. Just a nice little hesitation. And he's out the gate, and it's him against Bumper Pool in the middle of the field. Really, really nice design there. Occupying the safety with the corner route by the tight end and slipping your best receiver on the post for the big score.
And Jamar Chase now has 15 receiving touchdowns on the season.
Jamar Chase is one of the best in college football. He might take home a Biletnikoff Award. I can tell you this much, his quarterback is more than likely taking home the Heisman. Tigers rolling here in Baton Rouge.
LSU rolling now, 35-6 over Arkansas as we continue Dr. Pepper's championship drive game of the week. The Tigers trying to get to 11-0, 7-0 in conference play. They are home to Texas A&M next week, and then the SEC championship game. And this is the greatest offensive year in school history, 67th touchdown. Joe Burrow now with 41 air and 3 rushing touchdowns to boot. And Burks won't even make it back to the 20-yard line.
I think Jamar Chase is one of the best college football players I've seen this season. He's incredible. Wide receiver, creating a little separation there on the option route early in the game. And then look at him stop on a dime. Come back, fight for the football, and get some extra yardage. Underthrown deep ball, no problem. Hands up, I'm going to fight through it. I think Jamar Chase is exceptionally talented. And there's a very, very high likelihood he might have a chance to take home the Blitnikoff Award.
Our PlayStation Player impact rating 96. You see the numbers today. In the last 3 games, he's got 28 catches, 634 yards, and 6 touchdowns. As Jefferson's pass is dropped by Burks, incomplete. Obviously, when Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham were here, it was an incredible tandem. And you wonder with Chase having 2 more years, if he decides to stay 2 more years, and Justin Jefferson here for another year, if he decides to stay 1 more year, where will this duo go down in LSU history?
Well, I can tell you this much. I don't think Chase is going to be here for 2 more years.
Yeah, I agree.
I think 2020 is his swan song, and then he's going to go and become a very wealthy man.
Raheem Boyd is back in the game, so that's good to see. He got hurt earlier. Gain of a couple, though.
I think that's the scary thing, though, is LSU feels pretty good about their quarterback stable once Joe Burrow moves on, and all the weapons are back. We haven't even talked about Terrace Marshall, who was coming on, got injured, now getting back into the fold a little bit. The majority of their best players are back.
Everyone's back, except for Burrow for the most part, and Damian Lewis, their right guard, who I think is maybe their best offensive lineman. So everybody's going to be back, so this team has a very real chance of sustaining what's been an amazing season so far, well beyond 2019.
Jefferson on 3rd and long has no shot. Swallowed by Stevens to force another punt. Loss of 10.
And you're going to see these guys, I mean, one-on-ones across the board, and then Stevens is going to add on late in the pressure. And as soon as Devois Whaley has to save a life, Stevens is freed up from his man coverage responsibilities, and he can rush the passer. Jefferson has no answer for him. He drops him for a sack. Stevens has been excellent tonight.
How about 3 sacks for Stevens in the game? He had 2 all year coming in. Short punt. And fair, caught for a second, then dropped by Stingley, but he hops on it, and penalty marker is down.
That's kick catch interference, guys.
Yep. Be a 15-yarder. Put the ball inside the 30, close to the 25. That offense doesn't need any help getting field position via penalty or bad punts.
Kick catch interference on the kicking team, number 31. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Now keep an eye on Grant Morgan here, getting in the space, making contact prior to that. Yep.
It almost looked like he put his arm in the middle of his basket as he was catching the football. So good call by the officials. And you got to think here with good field position, Joe Burrow still on the field. You got to think that this might be the last drive for Joe Burrow if, in fact, they score a touchdown.
A chance here to climb the charts in SEC history of most passing yards in a season. But it brings up a good point with the injury to Tua Tagovailoa and a 35-6 lead. How long, if you're Ed Orgeron, do you keep Joe Burrow out there?
I have no problem with him being in there right now, but one more touchdown, I think, all right, that's it. We have so much more to play for, so many difficult physical games in front. Wouldn't want to expose him to an unnecessary hit. So this is probably going to be the last drive of the night for Burrow.
Keep it on the ground with Edwards-Helaire, and this is going to be a quick drive. What a move by Edwards-Helaire at the 10. Shook the defender and scored from 26 yards out. man, is he talented. Wow.
And how about this? Another pancake block by the right guard. Beautiful job here by the offensive line. Look at this. Boom. Throw him down. Edwards-Helaire one-on-one with a safety. Go and hit your head on the goalpost, young fella. Really well done. There up front for the LSU offensive line, and Helaire making a guy miss in space. He is excellent. It's been fun to watch tonight.
There was so much talk about Burrow and those receivers for good reason, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire having a special year here in Baton Rouge. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the 14th player in LSU history with a 1,000-yard season rushing. And you see what that offense continues to do, piling up numbers. A lot of receiving yards. He was targeted often in that first half. Junior from North Baton Rouge.
I love that guy. I mean, I absolutely love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think he's so explosive. He's so low to the ground. He's powerful, excellent in space, and he's a matchup nightmare.
You can't get a clean shot at him.
No, I mean, he's a matchup nightmare in the passing game. I mean, you just, all right, who do you want to cover him with? Sounds good. Put him against the running back, or put him against the corner. He can run right through him. Put him against the linebacker. He's going to run over the top of him.
Going to be a touchback. Let's check in with Matt Berry in the studio. All right, Matt, and here it is all LSU. It was 7-6 actually at one point. They made a change at quarterback. Nick Starkel is in the game now for the Razorbacks. So it looks like KJ Jefferson's night is over with 5:47 to go in the third quarter. Here's Boyd, and he's wrapped up after a gain of only 2. So here are our picks coming into today. I'm the only one that gave Oregon any love.
You love Oregon. I like Utah.
Brag about
I think Utah is the team that nobody's really talking about. And you guys, of course, both have Alabama. Dave, you have them at 6. Tom, you have them at 5. I have them in a holding pattern because I need to see what they look like with Mac Jones at the helm against a quality team in Auburn. But I still think they are within reach of the playoff. They just need a lot of help.
Starkel's pass is caught by Wood. So let's handle that subject because you've got A&M next week. LSU is going to be in the championship game by winning tonight. What happens if they lose to A&M? What happens if they beat A&M but then lose to Georgia? How does that affect LSU? How does that affect Georgia? How does that affect Alabama?
I think the Pac-12 is the biggest possible fan of LSU because if LSU were to lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game, tell me a team with a better resume still at 12-1.
Starkel's pass off target.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I believe would keep a Pac-12 champ out would be a one-loss LSU team that lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game.
I think LSU right now has such an incredible resume with wins coming against Alabama, obviously. Obviously, you look at the win against Auburn. Still a good win. I know Auburn might finish 8-4. Still a good team, though.
Texas, even though doesn't look as good, but still
not
Texas.
The same. I'm not going to give them quite as much credit for Texas because Texas hasn't been the team that we expected them to be. But
early in the year, though,
sure. I mean, week 2, I've tested their mettle, and I think that's a big reason why LSU is as good as they are.
Starkel's pass, boy, almost picked off, and then it was caught, a sliding catch. But what happens if A&M comes in here and wins next week, and then LSU wins the SEC championship?
What a throw, by the way. Oh, my goodness, what a throw.
So I mean, we're talking about if LSU wins next week and then loses to Georgia. But what if they lose next week?
They're in.
Well, they're in, but now that still opens the door for a Pac-12 team to make it, because even though LSU has a loss, they're still the SEC champs and they're going to go.
I think it depends a little bit how you lose, too. I mean, if you lose badly, then that's where you get really penalized. If you see what's happened with Ohio State the last couple of years, losing by 4 touchdowns to Purdue and 31 to Iowa the year before. Losing badly is what really hurt you in the eyes of the committee.
Boyd brought down for a loss. Setback of 3 yards.
And I think the committee really values progress and how you've improved throughout the year. Are you peaking at the right time? Are you playing your best football in November? And I think people forget about Ohio State in 2014 when we got beat up by Virginia Tech at home. And then 15 weeks later, they're the hottest team in college football.
Yeah, I just wonder if there's somebody that we're not thinking about here with a couple weeks to go that could sneak in. Maybe it's Minnesota if they knock off Ohio State. What if Ohio State beats Michigan, is unbeaten, and its only loss is to Minnesota in the Big Ten championship game? I mean, there's so many scenarios that could come into play. 2 SEC teams, 2 Big Ten teams, only. You know, what if one of those, is there a chance that one of those conferences gets left out if Ohio State loses to Michigan?
And the committee's praying none of that happens.
And also the Pac-12 right now, Arizona State beating Oregon at the time, or at least that's what I've seen most recently. Arizona State beats Oregon, Oregon beats Utah, Pac-12's done. So there's a lot of scenarios in place that could come down as we continue to move a little bit forward. And a loss to Oregon would potentially hurt Utah's resume, even if they were to win the Pac-12 championship against Oregon. So fascinating year in college football with a lot of quality teams and a lot of really interesting conversations.
Clemson might be in the best shape of anybody right now to win out. Not saying they're the best team, just looking at their schedule. South Carolina on the road, South Carolina a losing season. And then you got the ACC championship game. You're just looking at the schedules of the other teams. They may have the best shot right now of getting into the college football playoff unscathed. Got a penalty marker down.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 15 on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
And you referenced Clemson. That's great and all, and they might be 13-0, and they obviously have a championship pedigree with what they've built. I mean, they haven't played anybody with a heartbeat all year. So you wonder if the gauntlet that Ohio State's gone through or LSU's gone through, you wonder if maybe that gives them maybe that slight calloused feel that allows them to play really good in championship setting. But Clemson's playing excellent football, and they're not a team I'd want to see in the semifinal.
Fair caught by Stingley. Also, you got Minnesota, Wisconsin next week. It's going to be a great game. Sounds like game day is going to be there Tuesday night, 7 Eastern, ESPN app. The exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff, top 25 rankings. So Reese and the guys will break it down. Don't know how much change we'll see pending that Oregon-Arizona State game, which is over on ABC. New quarterback for LSU, Miles Brennan, who has played now in 7 games this year. He's thrown 59 career passes.
He's going to be a good player, too. I've been impressed watching him grow and develop, watching him a couple years ago, looking like a 135-pound, 6'4" guy. I mean, now he really resembles that of a Division I quarterback that can shoulder the load and take over what should be very big shoes to fill in Joe Burrow.
There goes Edwards-Helaire again. Out the gate. Touchdown run by Edwards-Helaire. One of 10 semifinalists for the Doak Walker Award, the only player in the SEC to be in line for that honor. And it is 49-6 after this incredible run.
Everyone told him, you're not big enough. You're not fast enough. You'll never play at LSU. Look at their backs. They're big backs. No. He said, I'm going to LSU. That's my school. That's where I feel most comfortable. And look at him now. One of the best in college football as he goes the distance, almost 90 yards, and almost doubles his nightly total. Really, really impressive to watch him play.
And you see the family there. Look at the two men in the middle. On the left is other at the same time.
Right.
And so that picture there, just a great way to illustrate as that screen pass is almost intercepted by Stingley. Just how special that family is.
So Arkansas trying to mount some offensive production here, going back to that screen again. And Stingley, the true freshman, very talented player, very bright future here at the self-proclaimed DBU. LSU, of course, certainly has claim there as well, even though maybe the numbers wouldn't suggest it this year. But Stingley's another in a long line of outstanding LSU corners.
Pass is batted around and incomplete. I got to imagine once Grant Delpit leaves that Stingley's going to get that number 7, which Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu both had at one point here at LSU. It's a number that. And there's Delpit, who is out with an ankle injury tonight, and they think he'll be fine for the A&M game next week.
Hopefully Delpit hasn't been healthy all year. Had an ankle and hasn't been at 100%. That ankle was in camp, and he hasn't played great throughout the season. But you got to think, when he gets back to 100%, he's one of the best players in football. So looking forward to seeing him get a clean bill of health very soon.
Well, Stingley gets smacked by Curl. Let's go to Matt Berry in the studio.
I noticed a remarkable urgency from Matt Berry reading that Arizona State highlight, knowing that he is a Sun Devil alum, and I'm sure he's watching that game very closely there.
You got Neil Everett, who's doing SportsCenter tonight. I'm sure he's watching it closely, being a Duck fan. Can we just rerun Spears with the LSU jersey thing to get you all juiced up, Greg? From the
Spears. It was funny just seeing Coach O. He's like, man, it's good to see you wearing purple and gold. I'm like, Coach, you could have at least got me a number 7 jersey if I'm going to pay off a bet. Yeah, I was wearing Skylar Green, man. That was my guy. But no, I wanted the Fournette number 7 or something like that.
There's Brennan to throw on 2nd down and 7, and it is caught for a first down by McMath. And the knee down in Arkansas territory at the 48.
You referenced that 7, though, as Delpit more than likely to head to the NFL this year, and that 7's going to be up for grabs. It might go to Stingley, but there's going to be a lot of people that you can consider, considering how talented this group is. It could go in a lot of different directions, so it's going to be a race to see who gets that number 7 jersey for the 2020 season.
They should just do a lottery.
No doubt. Whoever wins the wind sprints in the summer.
Brennan's pass a little too hot to handle there for Emory. 15 seconds to go here in the quarter.
I'll say this, Greg, and you're talking about Miles Brennan, and he's built, when you look at him from field level, he's actually built just like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But he's got a stronger arm. He's got more natural velocity and arm power than Joe Burrow has. Might not be the same athlete, but this ball jumps off his hand pretty nice now.
He's a really talented thrower. I've been impressed with watching him and seeing him develop, getting stronger, more mature, more physically mature. And of course, what makes Joe Burrow so uniquely special is his ability to move in the pocket and diagnose quickly and be cerebral. So that's what we need to find out from Brennan, but he certainly has the physical skill set.
Did you just see the clock run like twice? I think at this point it's a moot issue, but the clock started, and it is the end of the 3rd quarter, but nobody noticed, or maybe nobody cared. LSU is on its way to the SEC championship game. 49-6, the lead right now. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Back here in Baton Rouge, fourth quarter. It is all LSU, the #1 team in the country, blowing out Arkansas 49-6. One more regular season game for the Tigers on ESPN next Saturday night here against Texas A&M. Then it'll be the SEC title game versus Georgia. First team in SEC history with a 4,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, and 2 1,000-yard receivers in the same season. So we talked earlier about this being the best offense in LSU history. Statistically, it's one of the best offenses in SEC history.
And by the way, there might be 4 more games. So
exactly.
They are going to absolutely destroy the record book here in Baton Rouge this year.
3rd and 1. They run the true freshman John Emery. Breaks tackles. And heads to the house. Another LSU touchdown.
Well, the backups are in some spots, but not in others. Look at this double team to the backside. Can't quite get there, so you know what? Emery takes it himself. I'm just going to run right through contact. Emery, one of the biggest recruits in the recruiting class last year, thought he might be the every down, first and second down back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has not allowed that to happen with his excellent play throughout the course of the season, as you see Emery getting in on the action and adding to that total yards of offense. It is obviously a school record.
He's got some juice, man.
No doubt. I know you loved him coming out high school, Luke.
Yeah, #1 ranked running back in that class.
And the 5th rushing touchdown of the night for LSU, 56-6. Eastern, ESPN app. He hosts the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese will also talk with Rob Mullins, the committee chair. Plenty of analysis on who's in and who's out. LSU about to clinch a trip to the SEC title game. The last time the Tigers were there, 2011. It'll come out to the 25.
Guys, take a look at LSU's cover team here on their kickoff cover team, and look at the pride and the effort that this team has. When you get a fair catch, watch them sprint through the goal line, and they look down at each other to see who wins. Now, Greg, you know this as well as anybody. Those coaches are grading that stuff tomorrow. They're 100%. Grading effort. They're grading pride. I think that's a reflection of Ed Orgeron. It's a reflection of their coaching staff, because you're breeding a level of importance in the kicking game. And every time they get in the end zone, the crowd goes nuts for them.
Yeah, and it's an expectation. You play hard every snap regardless of the score. Just good habits, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Spivey, a true freshman running back, getting some work here in the 4th quarter. Maybe a yard. Well, so Ed Orgeron obviously has an opportunity to win Coach of the Year for the job that he's done. Meanwhile, it is a complete reversal on the other sideline. Arkansas has already fired its coach, Chad Morris. First of all, guys, your thoughts. We've had 2 coaches at major programs, Arkansas and Florida State, lose their jobs in the middle of their 2nd season. Is that what we've come to now?
No, it's ridiculous.
College football?
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, especially when you're talking about a complete philosophical shift from the ground and pound that was Brett Bielema to the spread that is Chad Morris. I mean, you're expecting to completely reinvent what you're doing offensively, and to do that in a span of 22 games is just not enough time. I don't care what anybody says. And I know that, hey, things were bad. I get that. Things were really bad. And they weren't playing well. And things went really sideways, having not beat a team in the Power 5 this year, not been competitive against Western Kentucky. I understand that sometimes there are external factors that force you to make a move. But the expectation level for coaches now is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's almost impossible to turn things around, because the second it gets sour, they pull the trigger and you're gone.
Well, as Arkansas keeps it on the ground here on 3rd down and 2 and going to be close. I mean, what if Dabo Swinney. I know year 2 of the Swinney era, remember he was an interim coach. Year 2 of the Swinney era was good, but then the next year they were not. And it was year 4 when they knocked off Auburn, which was the defending national champs, where you got the sense, okay, maybe Clemson can get it rolling. But what if they made a decision on Dabo in year 2? I'm not saying Chad Morris or Willie Taggart or Dabo Swinney, but if we're going to start firing coaches before they can even build a foundation, what's the message?
I think it's bad. I think it shows instability, and frankly, it's not a good precedent to set in college football.
Spivey trying to get the first down, and I think he did at the 35. Well, okay, look, they've made the move. So Chad Morris is out. Barry Lunny, the interim coach, is unlikely to be the permanent guy. Although I think all of us said that about Ed Orgeron as well. We were wrong about that one. But what do you do if you're Arkansas? What direction do you go?
I think it's tough, guys. I think it's a tough job because you've tried to go the group of 5 route already, all right, with a guy that was very successful at SMU. So if you're a sitting coach at a Power 5 program, is this program better job than the one you're currently at? And that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough job since Texas A&M got in the league. You're in the SEC West, really difficult division, and you don't have a ton of in-state talent.
Yeah, you have no recruiting base.
That's the problem, is you have to go to Texas, and now A&M gets first pick of the Texas kids.
Starkel's pass incomplete. Well, there is a guy in college football who it doesn't seem to matter where he is. He finds a way to win, and he does it differently, and that's Mike Leach. I'm just throwing that name out there. His name has been rumored. I mean, it doesn't.
Whose name hasn't been rumored? I feel like everybody is. But,
well, I mean, is that what it takes? Though, I guess, is getting somebody who's going to maybe do things. First of all, his personality's outside the box. He's going to do things that are outside the box, given how hard it is to win. Just trying to do things the way Alabama, LSU, and Auburn do it in the West.
I love it. The problem is in this league, recruiting's so tenacious that I don't know if he would have anywhere near the success in the SEC that he's had elsewhere. And obviously, he's a little different. I would absolutely love it. If he were to join the SEC, it'd be great theater. But I don't know, Lugs. I have my concerns knowing that it's a line of scrimmage league.
Yep, and no tight end in that offense.
And that offense is not necessarily revolving around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, yeah, it's a challenge. Listen, the Arkansas job, they've got unbelievable stadium enhancement that they just completed. Their facilities are outstanding. Great university, great town. But as we discussed, Greg, when you don't have an in-state recruiting base and you've got to go into everybody else's backyard, and to your point, it's a line of scrimmage league, it's been very difficult for Arkansas to get dominant people up front on both sides of the ball.
3rd and 2. Starkel facing pressure, and his pass is caught for a first down.
I can tell you this much, though. People are going to be intrigued by Arkansas. I think people... There's a lot of money there. Yeah. There's a ton of money. It's a great place to live. And you're the only show in town in regards to big school football in that state. So they'll get a good coach. It's just a matter of, will that good coach be able to build it as quickly as they'd like?
Of the opponent's logo.
It's awesome.
We saw Mike on the way over here as Jack Lindsey. His first play of the year at quarterback is a run of about 30 yards. Junior from Fayetteville, Arkansas, the 5th Arkansas quarterback to play this year and the 3rd to play tonight.
Well, that'll get you warmed up. I mean, it's 40 degrees out here, and right off the bench, no stretching, no time for that.
Dude, stretching's overrated. It's the worst period of practice.
I love it. So they've played 5, started 4. 6 times they've had a different starter from the previous week, and 8 times they've used games with multiple quarterbacks. The one thing we need to get our research team is how many times they've used 3 in a game. Is this the first, or are there other times they've used 3 quarterbacks?
Well, there's been other times. It's definitely been a struggle at the quarterback spot for the most part, but they're young and they do have some talent with K.J. Jefferson and John Stephen Jones.
Play clock was down to 1, so a timeout by Arkansas. And it is all LSU, Matt. 56-6. There's Hunter Yurachek, the AD for Arkansas. We were talking before the break about potential candidates. If you're Hunter Yurachek, who's your guy?
I want to figure out, before I do anything, I want to figure out who we want to be. Do we want to be ground and pound and emphasize the line scrimmage, or we want to be spread? They got to figure that out first, and then identify the best available. But I'll tell you who I would take in a second.
Lindsey wide open. Mike Woods, touchdown. Good drive by Arkansas.
Very nice drop. And Lindsey with a beautiful throw. Had a nice run. Get them into plus territory. And how about this? Little hesitation. Watch the hesitation on the right side. He'll settle and then go. Boom, there he goes, out the gate. Good job identifying it. And he's not working against backups, by the way. You see Patrick Queen in there. You see Fulton in there.
I'm surprised LSU still has a lot of its starters in there. What's the point?
I am as well. He's working against good players, and he made him pay. Nice throw.
Can you say quickly before we go to break who you'd hire? Because you said you'd do it after. Oh, you know what? We'll hold off. We only got 3 seconds. Don't do it.
I'd hire Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin. Who you would hire if you were Hunter Yurachek?
I'd hire Lane Kiffin. He knows the SEC, been in the SEC, now been at FAU for a couple years. Comes from Nick Saban's program, so knows how to get it done, knows how to recruit, and I think he'd be excellent if given the opportunity.
Ball gets kicked about 4 times, and Arkansas recovers it at the 11-yard line. Simeon Blair was down there to jump on it after it got battered around several times.
Am I going to have to do my demo again?
How to recover a fumble. This was interesting. This was really nice job by the kicker, by the way. Just right over the top. Perfectly placed, a little touch. And just kind of bounces around, and obviously LSU unable to come up with it.
I'm still surprised that LSU's got starters out there on special teams.
You know, so much of the emphasis, though, for Coach O and their defensive staff has been play 60 minutes. We've put a good halves together. We haven't put a full game together. So I think they are clearly trying to send a message that, hey, there might be 8 minutes left, and this game might be completely out of hand, but we need to see a 60-minute effort from you. So if that's the thought process behind it, I understand it.
I think LSU fans would like to just see healthy players next week against A&M and then against Georgia. Lindsey, the quarterback, keeps it and gets maybe a yard or 2.
But back to the original point in regards to Lane Kiffin, I think he's just quirky enough where you'd command the media attention. More people would be paying attention to what Arkansas is doing, and he's obviously schemed up everyone in the SEC for several years, having been an offensive coordinator for 3 and winning a national championship in 2015. So I think he would be a really interesting candidate to consider if given the opportunity. But there's a bunch of guys that would be on my short list for sure, but I would almost require that they have SEC experience.
Play action pass. Lindsey to the end zone. Overshoots the intended receiver. So it's 3rd down. Penalty flag in this secondary. Thrown about 5 yards deep in the end zone. Kern, the intended receiver.
Pass interference on the defense, number 3. Foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. 1st down.
It's on Jacoby Stevens. I mean, I understand your point about playing to the end, but I mean, if you're these starters on defense, you've lost some focus here because you're up 50. I mean, what really good can you gain from this? Other than maybe developing, I mean, you might develop some bad habits that carry over to next week by keeping these guys in there. I mean, you're trying to get style points. I mean, right now, Whaley is into the end zone for the touchdown, and a lot of the first teamers on defense are still on the field for LSU.
Style points don't show up on defense.
Now, I don't think a 36-point win over Arkansas is going to do anything in the eyes of the committee.
No, I know. I'm trying to figure out a reason why the guys.
I think it's all about the message. I really believe that because Coach O has hit on it time and time again. We have not played a full game on defense yet that we've been proud of. So I think that's everything to do with why they're still in the game.
All right, so with the score 56-20. Debo Whaley able to get into the end zone. LSU #1 in the country. And with Ohio State winning and Georgia and Alabama also successful, it's unlikely anything's going to change in the top 5. What about the next step for LSU? The defense until the last couple drives played pretty well tonight. I'm sure Coach O will use the last 2 drives for teaching moments for his young guys. But overall, as you look at Washington, Colorado now getting underway from Boulder on ESPN News, and then when we're done here on ESPN, you'll see Washington and Colorado here. And then, as we mentioned, SportsCenter following that game from Los Angeles. But for LSU to reach the goal of winning a national championship, what has to happen?
Well, they can do it. First and foremost, they can do it. Now, are they as complete as Ohio State and Clemson? I don't know if I'm willing to go that far just yet. I think there's a lot of things to really like about this LSU team. Their personnel is exceptionally good. Even on the defensive side, which doesn't get any credit for the most part, and have had their fair share of struggles. Still a lot of highly recruited guys that are playing pivotal positions on their defense. But we'll go through kind of the recipe I think it takes to win a national championship in a second. But there's one key piece that's missing for LSU.
Here's another onside kick by Limpert, and this one recovered by Stingley of LSU.
If you look at LSU, they obviously have big game experience. They've been so battle tested this year with the gauntlet they've had to run throughout the regular season in the SEC West and in the non-conference game against Texas. You know they have a game-changing quarterback in Joe Burrow, and you have to have that to win a national championship for sure. They are deep and versatile at the skill positions, creating matchups all over the field that are really difficult to defend. The one question I have is the front 7. Are they dominant? Are they a group that has at times been exposed? Yes, but they have good personnel. So if that group can somehow figure things out and play much better and play to the caliber that they are capable of playing at, because they have talent, then that's the one piece that you still have a little bit of a question on for LSU as they make this stretch run.
I think the difference, Greg, between this LSU defense, because I agree with you 100%, is it's not the front 7 in terms of depth and dominance that we've seen over the last 15, 20 years out of LSU. And when you look at Clemson and you right now you look at Ohio State, and you look at the way they're playing up front on defense, that's the edge that they have, I think, over LSU.
Chris Curry got the call on that last run. And Brennan to throw it here, and it's off target, incomplete, so it'll bring up 3rd down.
The one question I have about LSU, though, is we've seen glimpses of dominance. For instance, first half against Alabama.
Right.
First half even against Ole Miss in some cases. And then all of a sudden the offense scores 50 and the defense kind of relaxes. They exhale. They
goes on cruise control.
They take it easy. And that's why I think they're capable. I think they can be a dominant group. I really believe that. I genuinely believe that they can be a dominant group. The problem is they haven't been forced to be. And at some point they're going to be, and it might come in the national championship game against a really, really good opponent in Ohio State or maybe even Clemson.
Brennan takes off and doesn't mind getting hit. 4th down, though. See what LSU does here inside 6 minutes to go. They're just going to punt it. Ed Orgeron done a terrific job here at LSU. Again, we talked earlier about the change in philosophy offensively. And then Dave Aranda and the job he's done as the defensive coordinator for the most part. Will it be enough? Still have an A&M team that's played a brutal schedule. Hung with Georgia today. Only lost by 6 in that game. And then LSU's got to play a Georgia team that knows that if it wins, it's going to be in the college football playoff as the SEC champion. Take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings brought to you by Capital One. And again, we're assuming that if Georgia wins out, beating Georgia Tech next week, and then wins the SEC championship they're in. I mean, look at Oregon down 21-7 now. Utah and Arizona just kicked off.
And Oregon potentially losing is brutal for the Pac-12.
Yeah, it really is.
Because not only does it eliminate Oregon from the conversation, but it weakens Utah's potential resume. So the Pac-12 desperately needing Arizona State to go into cruise control and for Oregon to climb back into that football game.
Because Oregon's only loss was against Auburn week 1 in a game they led as Hammonds runs for a yard or two. They led for most of that game and then lost in the final seconds. So that would be devastating for the Pac-12 if. Still think though, if LSU wins out and you have a Bama team that doesn't even make the SEC championship game without Tua Tagovailoa, I have a hard time saying that an Alabama team that doesn't go to the SEC championship, doesn't win their division, and doesn't have Tua is better than Utah as a one-loss Pac-12 champ.
Yeah, I think Utah would get in. Whether you think they're better or not, they would have the more deserving moniker, and I think that there is some pressure to include a Pac-12 team that has proven themselves worthy.
Wow, how about that late pitch to Hammond's dangerous? Let's go to Matt in the studio. You know, one other score, Matt, that I just saw on the bottom line. TCU kind of hanging with Oklahoma. That game's not done. And, you know, what does that mean if Oklahoma were to lose to TCU, or even if they win and, you know, the winner of the Big 12 championship game then between Oklahoma and Baylor?
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma needs a lot of help. They can get in. But they need chalk to fly in the Big Ten, the SEC, and the ACC, obviously. And then they need the Pac-12 to have a 2-loss champion. That's the only way I could envision a scenario where Oklahoma gets in, but doesn't sound like they're on their A game tonight as they're facing off what's been kind of a Jekyll and Hyde TCU team that is capable.
You still have Minnesota that has to play Wisconsin, and if Minnesota wins that game and then were to beat Ohio State, the Gophers would be in.
They'd be in.
They'd be in the college football playoff.
You beat Ohio State, you win the Big Ten with 1 loss, and your 1 loss is on the road at a good Iowa team.
I don't think they can beat Ohio State, but
I also think they're going to struggle there.
They got to beat Wisconsin first. The Badgers playing much better, and the winner of that game next week will go to the Big Ten championship game to play Ohio State.
The one thing that's really interesting, though, as it relates to LSU, spinning it back towards them, is the race to become the #1 overall seed this year has never been more important.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Because the last team I want to play right now in a semifinal environment might be Clemson.
I'm with you, Greg.
So Clemson is going to be the 3 seed more than likely, assuming LSU and Ohio State take care of business. And of course, a long way to go for that to take place. But let's just assume right now, if you are 1 versus 2, not only do you get to go to Atlanta, but you also get to avoid Clemson, which is enormous, I think, when vying for a potential championship run.
Wow. Henry somehow got behind the defense. True freshman. It's the first down. It's Jack Lindsey's played well here in relief. Third quarterback that Arkansas has used today. A little too late, though.
Really has played well, though. I mean, he's moving around and running a little bit. It's been encouraging as LSU finally has a couple backups in the game defensively.
Don't forget to Washington, Colorado now on ESPN News, but momentarily we'll be here on ESPN once we are done as Lindsey is dragged down at the line of scrimmage, maybe lost a yard. So LSU will make it to the SEC championship game for the first time since 2011. They beat Georgia that year and then lost to Alabama in the national title game. They were 13-0 before falling to the Crimson Tide. Beat Alabama during the regular season, and LSU will play Georgia. The lone loss for Georgia was against South Carolina at home. South Carolina team that has struggled since. Lindsey on 2nd and 11, throws a deep ball. Incomplete, but a flag as Kerry Vincent looked like he committed pass interference against Burks. He's still in the game. So is Mo Hampton. Those guys started the game at safety.
Pass interference on the defense, number 5. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
They don't really have anybody else at safety, though, right now.
Right,
a little banged up back there. Yeah. Obviously, Delpit being unavailable. So,
do you see Georgia beating LSU?
I think they're going to play them very well. Now, I would pick LSU, but I'd be highly surprised if Georgia didn't have a really nice plan to try to create opportunities for DeAndre Swift, and if Georgia's defense didn't play LSU better than anybody else. Auburn's been the standard against LSU defensively with how they played. I think Georgia could potentially match that effort, and they would be a more capable team offensively than Auburn is.
Lindsey to the air, and the catch is made. The clock will stop here to move the chains. 22 seconds left. That was J.D. White on the grab.
It's going to be a heck of a game, though. I tell you what, I mean, you have a great offense against a great defense. Team that hadn't been there in a while against a team that's been there 3 straight years. So that matchup in the SEC championship game is going to be must-watch television. I can't wait.
Final play, unless there's a penalty. There isn't. LSU wins 56-20. The Tigers go to 11-0, 7-0 in the SEC. They clinch the SEC West Championship. They will play Georgia in the SEC title. But first, A&M comes to Baton Rouge. ESPN next week. For Greg and Tom, I'm Dave. So long from Baton Rouge.